And from China, we turn to the United States of America. It is in the grip of an epidemic as well, an epidemic called gun violence. Last night, we brought you a detailed report on this menace, a report on how America has witnessed 36 incidents of mass shootings in the last 23 days. Just 23 days of this year, 36 mass shootings. And guess what? That number has now increased. Right after we wrapped up the show last night, we got reports of more mass shootings. The first one unfolded in Half Moon Bay, a seaside rural town in California, tucked between San Francisco and Santa Cruz. This is majorly an agricultural and fishing town. On Monday afternoon, it witnessed scenes of mayhem. A man shot dead 7 of his former co-workers. The victims were all Chinese-American farm workers. The crime unfolded at 2 different farms in the town. 3 others were later found at a nearby trucking business. Local authorities saying this was one of the worst crimes to unfold in their town. Let's listen in to some of the voices.
We grieve tonight for the deceased members of our community. This is a horrific event, one that we would never imagine would occur in San Mateo County. Gun violence in this country is at completely unacceptable levels. It's really hit home tonight. Our hearts are broken. We are deeply grateful for law enforcement for their work this evening. But in the end, there are simply too many guns in this country, and there has to be a change. This is not an acceptable way for a modern society to live and conduct its affairs.
And some video footage has also emerged now. It shows the police detaining the suspect. Reports say he drove himself to a police parking lot, apparently to turn himself in. So who exactly was this man? Well, he's been identified as Zhao Chun-li, a 67-year-old disgruntled farm worker. The police are saying he acted entirely alone and used a semi-automatic handgun for the crime. But the question is, what were his motivations? What led to this? This, the police are yet to ascertain.
Currently unknown. Through investigation, the suspect, identified as Chung-Li Zhao, a 67-year-old Half Moon Bay resident. At 4:40 p.m., Zhao was located in his vehicle in the parking lot of the sheriff's substation here in Half Moon Bay by a sheriff's deputy. Zhao was taken into custody without incident, and a semi-automatic handgun was located in his vehicle. Zhao is believed to have acted alone, and there is no further threat to this community.
The attack in Half Moon Bay was tragic, to say the least. What's worse is it was not a standalone incident. Just hours after this attack, there was another shooting. This one unfolded in Oakland, a city just 47 miles away from Half Moon Bay. At around evening, at least 8 people were shot and a person was killed at a gas station. There was no immediate word on the circumstances that led to this shooting, and the police are yet to arrest the suspect. Now, here's the thing. These gruesome incidents have taken the total number of mass shootings in America this year to 39. 39 shootings. If this is how America has started the new year, one can only imagine what awaits the country ahead, what lies ahead. But why imagine when you have data to look at? See this graph? It tells you how mass shootings in the US have been on a constant rise since the last 5 years. In 2018, there were 336 mass shootings. In 2019, there were 417 mass shootings. In 2020, this number increased to 610. In 2021, it further rose to 690. In 2022, it reduced a little to 647. And 3 weeks into the year, 39 mass shooting incidents already. You think that's bad? Then have a look at these numbers. Since 1990, more than 1 million people have lost their lives in mass shootings in America. And if I speak of the number of firearms, Americans are armed like no other nationality. There are about 393 million privately owned firearms in America. That is about 120 guns for every 100 Americans. Yes, there are more guns in America than people. More guns than the people. According to a Gallup survey, about 45% of American adults say they live in a household with a gun. And you know what happens when there are guns in the house? They often fall into the hands of children. In America, more often than other countries, another report from Everytown saying that from 2015 onwards, there were over 2,070 unintentional shootings by American children under the age of 18. And these shootings resulted in the deaths of over 765 people. Remember, this does not happen anywhere else on earth. A host of countries around the world that in the past suffered as a result of gun violence have brought incidents of mass shootings down with strict laws. In Australia, for example, stringent gun laws have led to a 50% fall in mass shootings. As of 2022, gun deaths in Australia were at an all-time low. Same story in the UK. After a mass shooting in 1996, it tightened its gun laws and banned most private ownership. And today, gun violence has become a rarity in the UK. Why then is America in such an abysmal state? Well, you can blame the gun lobby and the politicians. If they want to, they can bring tighter gun laws, change the criteria for gun ownership, reduce the number of mass shootings. But then again, American politicians from both sides of the spectrum are so dependent on this very lobby for support and funds that they end up prioritizing political gains and profits over the lives of people. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.